Hi, I'm Arial Italic, and you're watching What the Font? It's the show where I keep talking until I accidentally stumble upon some information that I know. Now, I've already talked about relationships on this show, but today we're going to cover the first date specifically. It's something that fills a lot of people with anxiety or makes them feel pressured, but in fact, it's necessary. We have to do it if we're going to get to the second and third date. I don't know as much about those, but that first date I've got down. Now listen, I have been on a lot of first dates, so I know what you're up against and I know what to do. Hearing that I've only been on a lot of first dates and not a lot of second dates shouldn't alarm you. Or it should alarm me more. Either way, I'm just gonna talk. My first tip for first dates is that it is a numbers game, and you've gotta play the numbers. There are all sorts of reasons why people might say no to a first date. The aforementioned anxiety is a big one. Compatibility is tough. They might just not be into you, and that's okay. Schedules are off, or they just went through some other thing and they're like not ready for a relationship right now. You know the drill. So you have to sort of open your own mind at times to the idea that you are going to go on a lot of first dates with people that you're like 50-50 on. Now, we all have an idea in our head of the perfect person for us, and they have a list of physical attributes and a list of emotional attributes that we know is the perfect compatibility match for our unique individual soul. But the truth is, we don't know ourselves that well. You don't know who you're gonna end up with or why, so go ahead and be a little flexible about saying yes to someone who you are uncertain of, or asking out a person that you have an inkling about but you're not like all the way there. A first date is a chance to get to know someone. It's not a marriage proposal. So go out with someone who's a little off the beaten path and see what happens. You might find over the course of dinner that this person makes you laugh, or they're more attractive than you realized, or you have something really unique in common. There are a lot of reasons why relationships go well, and very few of them are based on knowing exactly what you want when you went in. It might take you 2 or 3 dates to realize that the person you're with is the person for you. It takes months sometimes to figure out that you even have a crush on somebody. Don't put the pressure of the first date being perfect on an already difficult situation of going on a first date. Speaking of pressure, don't get hamstrung by the idea that you have to be a perfect version of yourself going in. People have this idea that they're going to put their best foot forward, but I got news for you. Your foot isn't that great, and people should know what kind of foot they're getting going in. My recommendation for a first date is to be fairly honest about who you are and what the other person is getting. And that includes not wearing your absolute best outfit. A, you don't dress like that all the time, and they should know that. And B, give yourself a little room to work up. You know, you want to get to that second date looking even better than the first. If you already blew it out of the water with some, like, sequined designer whatever you wore, I don't know what you wore, but like whatever it was, if it was too good, second date's gonna be a letdown. The same goes for emotional content. Now, I'm not saying that you have to let them into your subconscious or make the first date into a goddamn therapy session about your mother's death, but don't pretend to be someone that you're not, because either they'll want to date the someone that you're not and you're stuck with that, or they won't want to date you and you won't know if it's because of who you are or who you pretended to be. Maybe they would have liked the real you. So I like to let people know on a first date that I have some insecurities, or that I'm messy, or, you know, throw a little flaw in there once in a while with all the perfect that I otherwise am. So embrace the awkwardness of that first date and have insecurities and vulnerabilities and things that make you flawed, because those are the things that make you unique and make you the person that they might want to go on a second date with. So, now that you've landed this first date, what the hell are you going to talk about? Here's my pointer for making sure that these conversations run smoothly. You want to ask questions that get to the heart of who this person is. A, open-ended questions. These are better than yes or no questions. Give them a chance to tell a story, to go on a sort of journey with you. Really talk about what they find interesting about themselves. Don't ask about their job too much. Like, yes, it's exciting to know what someone does, but also, Do you want to talk about your workday? Probably not. You just got done with that. You want to leave that place. Same with this person. Don't overdo it on the work chat. Lean into things that'll let them tell you about their personality. Weekend activities, hobbies, friends, books they've read, binged any podcasts lately. Oh, you listen to My Favorite Murder? What's your favorite murder? Murdered anyone recently? Stuff like that. So let's say things are going really well. This person is very attractive and they make you laugh and you're vibing and you have the same favorite murderer or whatever. Here's a couple tips I'm going to give you to not go overboard on that good first date. First off, let's keep it to 1 drink, 2 drinks absolute max. Sure, you feel more confident and loose and exciting when you're a little tipsy, but the drunker you get, the harder it is to decide if you actually like this person. Maybe you're having a good time because you're drunk. You want to know that you are putting forward a version of yourself that's fairly accurate, and that you have a fairly accurate impression of the other person. You can't do that if you're impaired because you've had 7 tequila shots. Of course you're having a great night. You're wasted. And then 2, not out to slut shame here. You have sex with whoever you want. I personally find that it can be difficult to have sex with someone on a first date because it clouds the judgment of whether or not I actually like them. I have a hard time separating the emotional intimacy from the physical intimacy. And so I tend to wait 2, 3, 4 dates just so I have a clearer idea in my own head if I like this person or not. If I don't like them, I will have sex on the first date because then it's not confusing. I already know that this is just physical. So then, on the other hand, what if this date is not going so well? I have 2 options for you. One is, you can view this as practice. This is a dry run of a future, better date. You are honing your conversation skills, learning to ask good questions, and workshopping the stories that you want to tell, and generally figuring out how to present a really charming and compelling version of yourself, which is just a good skill to have in the future. So don't despair. This is actually benefiting you if you play your cards right. And your other option is always to leave. You're an adult, you can get up and go. It is always okay to reach across, shake that person's hand, say, "It has been really nice meeting you, but I have to get going." Now, did any of that advice guarantee that your first dates will turn into second dates? Absolutely not. Did it help you at all? Still maybe no. But first dates are difficult, and they are nerve-wracking. So if you can go in feeling like you have a secret weapon in your back pocket, or that you already know what to do, that's probably gonna be to your benefit. Look, I'm not a relationship expert. I'm not even dating someone right now. I'm just a drag queen on a couch in front of a ring light and a camera that I paid for with money that I don't have. And you came to me for advice, so that's your fault. I'm Ariel Italic. You're whoever you are. This has been What the Font. Mwah!